So if you want to talk about something about the previous lecture, I think that we have studied half poem of Robert Frost, The Birches. So if someone would like to talk or say something about the Birches, so that one is free to express his or her thoughts. Yeah, anyone? Okay, let me then. Eyes,
Yes, sir.
because I know that you all people are not very much humble to respond me when I ask you something. But
Yes, sir.
I know that I have to all the time call your names and then you can do that, because I think that all of the people thinking that I think that that person must unmute their self, that person must unmute their self. So you are all the time thinking about this. Yeah. So tell us something about the poem that we've studied by Robert Frost.
Sir, Robert Frost poem Birches is all about childhood and the rigidity of life. As in the first or second line, he mentioned the darker trees, uh, which symbolize that when trees are growing older and older, their skin or bark becomes old, black, and hard. And this hardness shows the hardness of life. And also, sorry, and also he described his childhood memories of teasing the birch tree and trying to bend down the tree, but and also by the snowstorm, the trees are bending, but they stood against the storm. And it is also the way to face the difficulties of the life in human life.
Okay, thank you. Yes, anyone else? Okay, then fine. If you do not want to share something, let me share my screen with you. Yes, is it visible now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so we were studying, I think, yeah, Birches, and where we were. Yeah, I think we were at the line.
सारी 32 लाइन से स्टार्ट करना है.
I do not have the numbers with the lines, but I can randomly pick any
Like,
line and you just may tell me that whether this is the same or not.
fo-
Okay, yeah.
सर यहाँ से for him to conquer. Last 4 line. यहाँ से for him to conquer, he learned all their wars.
Conquer.
For him to conquer, not
Yes, sir. यहाँ से.
conquer, it is conquer,
Yes, sir.
conquer. Okay, so for him to conquer, so yeah, so until he took the stiffness out of them and not one but hung limp, not one was left for him to conquer. So you know that we have already talked about this thing. It means the things that they were very frightened for Robert Frost, and now they are actually they have took the stiffness, they have took the I would say the hardness out of them, because they are the thing that really disturb him all the time. But now he is totally free out of those worries and uh, and the problems of the life. Then you can also see that this also gives a symbolic meaning to the explanation, in which you may say that how you can conquer over the life if you are like you can also take example of of the essay by Francis Bacon of death, that how revenge, honor were actually triumphing over the death, even though the frightens of the death. So similar, we can also see that how Robert crosses, he is triumphing over the death, triumphing over the problems and the issues of the life. He does not actually escape and ignore them, but he faces all the challenges of the life, all the problems of the life. He meets with them, he fights with them, and then he wins it. So this is his triumph. This is his real conquer. You see that he is not like a man, like a poet John Keats, who does not see the reality of the life, but ultimately he goes into the world of the nightingale through the concept of escapism. And then, whenever he comes back, he also sees the same thing. It means that there is no temporary relief for the human being. Ultimately, we have to see those things, we have to face those things. So, if you can do it right now, that will be good for you. But after many years, you will have to do the same. But at that time, you will not have the potential in your body. You will not have the endurance, enough endurance to bear that thing. So that this is a good idea that if you do it right now, because you have the potential to do so, and you can triumph over the things, that you can triumph over the challenges. And this is what it's really all about. Because when he talks about the straighter, darker trees, as Ayaz has told, it talks about the realities of the life. It talks about the problems of the life. And after that, one by one, he subdued his father's trees, and he took the stiffness out of them. It means that he faced those challenges, and he after facing those challenges, then he was a triumph over them. He was victorious, and he won that battle. He won that combat with the problems and the issues. Then he learned all there was to learn about not launching out too soon, and so not carrying the tree away clear to the ground. And now this line and this concept tells you something about the human beings balance, the balance of the human beings, or the balanced life of the human being. You see that he learned all there was to learn about not launching out too soon. So once he is at the peak, he will be just launching out on the ground. But you cannot do this. That if you are actually going to the upper branches of the trees, and if you then coming down, might be you won't able to come down, or might be if you come down, you will come down with a thirst, and you will be thudding on the ground, and you may never survive. And on the other side, you cannot launch too soon. Yeah, like you may see that if you are not if you may not reach at the reasonable height of the tree, and if you want to pull the tree down to the ground, you cannot do that, because you see that there is all the balance is that you have to observe, and when you have to launch that, it depends on you. So what he will be doing, he has done that, not launching out too soon, not launching out too soon from the tree to the ground, and so not carrying the tree away clear to the ground, and not go upper to the branches, and you may bring all the tree to the ground. You do not do this, because in both conditions you will fall on the ground, and there is nothing that you can enjoy. What it talks about the balance of the life. It means that we must not be at the extreme position, and we must not be taking some decisions before time. So, taking some decisions before time and taking some decisions after time, that will cause you discomfort. What you need to do, you have to maintain the balance of your life, and whenever there is that you think that okay, this is the time to take the right decision at the right moment, then you may take that. So that is the reason that he talks about not only the tree, but the reality of the human life. That he learned, all there was to learn about not launching out too soon, not to start jump too soon, and so not carrying the tree away clear to the ground, and not to jump before time. Not too late, not before time, but on the same time when it is the right moment, when it's the right time to go over there. He always kept his poise to the top branches. He always, poise means you can say the posture of your body, and poise can also be taken as when your body is lean forwarded. Body is lean forwarded. So he always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you use to fill a cup up to the brim and even above the brim. So, you know that climbing a tree can be easy when you are just starting to climb the tree. Then, after when you are climbing to the upper branches of the tree or sometimes to the top of the tree, what will happen that you must be very careful, because you know that the trunk of the tree is stronger from the roots, but the trunk of the tree is not stronger from the top. You know that there are then the branches, the lean and thin branches of the tree that can break at any time and you can fall on the ground. So you can climb the tree rushly whenever it is the starting, but you cannot do the same when you are climbing on the upper branches of the tree. Then you have to use your use your I would say energy in a balanced way. If you are just climbing rushly to the upper trees or the upper branches of the tree, what will happen that the branch will break and you will fall on the ground. And he is now comparing that pain that a I would say that a climber must use. So that pain is actually the same as you are filling a cup with water, with tea, with coffee, whatever it is. But he is comparing the situation that you know that whenever you are filling a cup, you are doing it rushly, and whenever it is half, you just get down slow. And after that, when the cup is about to be filled, then you are too much slow, because you do not want the water and the coffee to be spilled on the table and to be overbrimmed out of the cup. So you do not want to do that. It means that you must not spill the water, spill the coffee out of the cup. So you know that when you are having a jug of water and on the other side you have a glass of water. So what you are doing, you are just doing it right now, because without any, you know that first of all the bottom will be filled and after that the half and then the full. So when it is about to full, then you are using less pain, you are using less energy, and even though the control energy to fill that cup of water or cup of coffee. So the same pain you must use to climb a tree whenever you are on the to the upper branches of the tree. And if you are going rushly towards the upper branches of the tree, what will happen? As I've already told, might be the tree may break, the branches may break, and you can fall on the ground. And what another lesson it gives, this gives that you must be spending a balanced life, and that balanced life must be full of, you can say, pleasure, must be full of delight, and at the same time it must be full of care also. And if there is no care, it means that you are jeopardizing your life in danger. So do not jeopardize your life, do not put your life into danger. Instead, you must care yourself. Otherwise, if you are like rushly doing that only for the first time and after that, then there will be not second time or not any time, because you will not be survived. So that is the reason that he says that we must deal the matters of the life with our control emotions, with our control emotions. Otherwise, if we are doing everything with the same rush of sentiments, rush of emotions, that what will happen? Many things will be wasted, many things will be spoiled. So to deal the matters of life, we have to very conscious about, we have to very care about. And then he flung outward, feet first. So now I would say that this is the most sensuous picture that Robert Frost draws, because might be some of you are already acquainted or familiar with this idea, because I have already told that I had this experience, and might be many boys, because girls they do not do this usually, but the boys, like in their childhood, they usually do this. So like when the child is actually climbing on the tree, then he flung outward. First of all, he actually leaned forward to outward, a little bit outward, because he is about to jump on the ground by holding the branches of the tree. So this is his description of the jump, before the jump. He flung outward, feet first. So now he's bringing his feet first, because you know that if the feet will touch the ground, then the pain will less. And on the other side, the danger will also be diminished. But on the other side, if you are just keeping your feet uh, outward, or sorry, you can say upward, and you are touching your hands on the ground, then might be the danger will be more, because you can hit the ground so hard and your arm can break, and your, even though uh, your head can also be twisted. So that is the reason that he is using, because our legs they can bear more energy, because they are working like the shocks, you know, the shocks, because they absorb the energy, a shock of the land as well. So that is the reason we can say that they are more stronger than the arms. So he flung outward his feet first with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. So now what is he doing? He is holding the branches tightly whenever he is at the reasonable peak of the tree, and now he wants to jump outside, because he just want to come on the ground by holding the branches. So he is now flung, he is now jumping outside, feet first, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. And now he is actually kicking himself. You know that we need a kick to move ourselves rapidly from one position to another. So whenever you are at the position, so you have to just kick yourself out, you can say, to the front. So with a jerk of the body, you are moving from the tree to the ground, and then you are on the ground. So was talking about himself that he was once a swinger of birches, and so I dream of going back to you. So this is a line that I would say that talks about the nostalgic memory of the past of Robert Frost. Because when he, you know, that we all are doing one thing. We are all are doing one thing, that uh, we all glorify our past, and we feel love to move in the past. We feel love to recall our past all the times, and we are like sometimes discussing our past with our siblings, because you know that you have the mutual past to stand together in the same at the same place. Sometimes you are saying like with my brother used to recall some of the past memories whenever we are together, and we say that we have been climbing. Like I still remember one event that is a funny one. Like I was like having a quality like a, I would say, like a gorilla man. So what I did, I tied a rope, a plastic tied rope, tied a rope with one tree and then to the another. Because at that time I used to watch movie of like Rambo movie, so that really inspired me to do so. And I tied a rope with one tree, with branch of the tree, and then to the another. And then you all know the lock, जो ताला होता है, the lock. So I actually locked on the wall, that lock on the wall, and then I just moved from one tree to another, and that was a good experience, and I really did so. So all my friends, they were also there, and they were very happy. So there was one friend who was afraid not to do so, and I asked him to do that. And whenever he was about to jump, then the rope, the rope, it actually untied from the tree, and he fell on the ground. And his, I cannot tell that what happened with him, that he cried a lot. So at that time, I failed with my experience, not as experience, because I was having a successful experience with that rope, but that person who was already afraid of that, doing that thing, so he fell on the ground. And after that, I just went home and told my mother that okay, this happened. And then there were some bandages on the head of that of that friend. So this is that I also do think it is related to my childhood experience, whether it is not good for my friend, but it is good for me that I did that and I was succeeded that. It means that we all have something to share in our past memories, and we feel sometimes good to recall all these events and all these things with one another. Okay, so that we can say that he also want to move. He also wants to move back in his childhood, because this is the thing that everyone wants. And what he says that, and so I dream of going back to be, and he feels that he must be going back in his childhood once again. And that is his real intention, that is his real interest, I would say passion. It's And when he feels so, that we feel so whenever we are encountered by any issue or any problem. Definitely it happens so. Like whenever I feel that okay, uh, sometime whenever I move to city, so that noise and that pollution and everything, the honking of the horns, like they really disturb me. And because if you would have spent your life in a village where there is peace and there is no noise, and even though you can also see that, like whenever I was city, you may heard there were different horns and the traffic, uh, the rush of the traffic. But now I just moved to my village, and you cannot hear anything, any background noise, except my laptop's fan, and that I just shifted on my mobile phone. So it means that it happens that I am living now in a peaceful environment, and there I could not sleep. I know that I could not sleep most of the time, the whole night. Then the horn and all of the other things, they were just in my ears, and it was making me deaf. So now I am a little bit at ease. And so he says that it is when I am wary of considerations. So when he is exhausted, exhausted of the considerations, okay, that you must do this, you must do that, when you talk about your relations, when you are fed up with the things around you, whenever you are feeling exhausted, and you are full of with worries and anxieties, then it happens. Then you want to find a place, you want to find a place full of peace and calmness. that happens at that time. He says that, and life is too much like a pathless wood. And this, now you can see that he talks about a vast experience of his life, because it seems so that he is exhausted. He is in his adult age, in his I would say mature age, he is exhausted with the life, with the, because life is full of worries and tensions, and he is really exhausted with this. He says that I am. It is when I'm weary of considerations, and life is too much like a pathless wood. Pathless wood. So it seems that he does not see any way to move in, because he all the time he is staggering from one place to another, and he cannot find that in which direction he must go. And this is the situation that is haunting him all the time. That is the reason he wants to go back, he moved back in his childhood, because at that time he did not care about anything around him. And life is too much like a pathless road. So there is no intention of life remained. There is no objective. There is nothing that he can go into with. Otherwise, the life has become totally trackless, pathless, and there is no destiny that he must follow and he can follow right now. Where if it is a pathless wood on the other side, where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it. And it is not that you are actually moving on that pathless road, because you know the pathless roads, they are full of I would say more problems and obstacles. They are full of obstacles and hurdles. Why? Because if there is no path, and then you have to make a way, you have to create a way, and in that, to create a way, then you know that it is not an easy to do that. Like if you go to any northern areas, and if you are following the lane through the jungle, you can easily move on. But if you need to make another way, then you know that that is not an easy thing to do, and you have to work harder and harder to make a new way. So that is the reason his life has become pathless, totally pathless, and he is actually I would say rushing into the jungle, moving into the jungle without any way, without any path. And then you know that in that way there are many obstacles and problems that one can encounter. That is the reason he says that my life has become pathless wood, and where your face burns with and tickles with the cobwebs. You know that when someone is not actually passing through that way, what will happen? Definitely, the cobwebs, they will be on the way. They will be in your way, and there are many other problems. There are many other obstacles and hurdles that will be in your way. Because if it is not the way of any human being, then it will be the way of insects. It will be the way of animals. It will be the way of the other people. What he's trying to say, that if you do not make a way for yourself, and if you are not actually uh, passing it on, if you are not going it through many times or over and over, what will happen, that the way will again be changed into jungle. It will again changed into the same way, into the same, I would say, way, full of bushes, full of branches, full of you can say cobwebs, full of other things, obstacles. Means it means that you have to just keep on the way, and then you may you may just go on that and stick to with that way until you reach the destiny. And then he says that, and one eye is weeping from a twigs having lashed across it open. You know, sometimes when you are actually making a way, you are making a way with your elbows, with your hands. You are actually keeping keeping all the branches aside with your hand, and then you are making a way. And sometimes what happens, that one twig or one branch of the tree, that it comes and hits you so bad in your eye like a lash. So your eye is crying. It means that life is totally unpredictable. It can, anything can happen with you at any time, even though that is the problem that he is discussing about. That even though if you are making a new way, in that way you will be having more problems. As he gives this example, like if any branch can hit you in the eye like a lash, so it means that these are the problems that one can face if someone has to make a new way for himself. And that is the reason, because you have already listened Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken, in which he also discusses and talks about the same phenomenon. Okay, yes, are you people with me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So it means that life is full of problems, life is full of obstacles and hurdles. If one has to make new way, so it means that that thing is not out of any issue, any problem or any obstacle. There comes an obstacle. There comes a hurdle in that person's life, and then if that person just comes back, then it means that he quick at that moment. But if that person continues, might be he will be at a position, might be he will be at his destiny very soon, very shortly. And then I like to get away from Earth a while. Now, his, I would say, mental condition or his condition is totally dichotomous. Dichotomous in a way that sometimes he's thinking not to do that, sometimes he's thinking to do that. So he is actually his I would say personality is divided into two sections. The one section, you know that we all are actually divided into two sections. Like we are divided into two consciences. Like the one conscience talks about to do something, even though challenging, and the other things about not, you must take care about yourself and about your family. You must think about your family. Do not do that. So this is a tussle between the conscience. Like the one conscience asks you to do that, and the other asks you to, the other stops you. It means that the same is the condition with Robert Frost, because like a human being, it happens with everyone. You know that we also have the bad conscience and the good conscience in ourselves. And sometimes whenever we try to take a risk, so we think about the dangers that it can pose on us. Like you know that being youngsters, we sometimes have some challenges by our friends to do that. And if you do not do that, it means that they are actually most of the time insulting you. They are actually comments you, or they are actually complaining about that. Okay, you accepted the challenge first and then you didn't meet that. Like, but you are just taking care of yourself and your family, and then you do not take that risk. And sometimes you know that there is a revolutionary, a rebellion in us that asks us to do that without thinking anybody, and you do that without thinking anybody, and sometimes the consequences are not the same. So our soul, our self, our body is divided into two functions, and the first is the bad, and the second is good one. The same happens with Robert Frost too, as he thinks so that I would like to get away from Earth a while, and then come back to it and begin over. So now he does not merely talk about the childhood experience that he will be climbing the tree, and after holding the branches, the top branches of the tree, he will come to the ground and then he will come back. Actually, he tries to teach us the philosophy of life, that this all happens with every human being, that everyone wants to go back in the past, and that one wants to settle over there for a time, for a while, and after that he wants to come back, because you know you cannot remain in the past for so long. Ultimately you have to come and face the reality. yeah, for a temporary time you can go and give peace to yourselves, can you can give calm to yourselves, but you cannot stay there for too long, for so long. So that is the reason that he talks about that I would like to get away from earth a while. So symbolically earth means, you can say, the reality. बिकॉज समटाइम्स हम कभी जो है वो अपने दोस्तों को भी या बाकी लोगों को भी, जिससे हम थोड़ा सा वो कुछ उसका जो नुक्ता नजर है चीजों को देखने का जो है वो बहुत अंदाज बदल जाता है, थोड़ा सा प्राउड हो जाता है चीजों के मामले में, तो हम उससे अक्सर कहते हैं कि दैट यार जमीन पे रहो, जमीन पे रहो। इससे मुराद है कि लाइक द अर्थ इज a sign and a symbol to use for the reality, बिकॉज ये रियलिटी है जिससे हमें चीजों को हम फेस करते हैं, चैलेंज को, ऑब्स्टेकल्स को, और यही वो चीज है जो कि हमें जमीन पे, हम कई बार ऐसे होते हैं कि जो कुछ लोग जो बहुत ज्यादा जो है वो हम्बल होते हैं, प्राउड नहीं होते, तो हम उनको कहते हैं कि या ही इज डाउन टू अर्थ, जमीन से जुड़ा हुआ है, डाउन टू अर्थ, बहुत ज्यादा हम्बल है। इट मीन्स दैट सिंबॉलिकली लैंग्वेज इफेक्ट्स यू इन मैनी वेज। So he was talking about that I would like to get away from Earth a while. Like he wishes to go away from Earth a while, but not permanently. He wants to go far away from the Earth because he wants that he may also see some of the world of imagination, some of the world of the childhood world and the world of the youngsters that he spent already. It means that he does not want to, I would say, face the reality all the time. He wants some change in his life, and that change comes when he actually moves back into his life. He moves back into his childhood, and sometimes he goes into the world of imagination. So Earth is the reality, and the world of imagination can be anything. And then come back to it and begin over. Might be he is also asking us to do this because in a way, you know, that sometimes uh, we feel that life must be giving us a break from the problems. You know that even though the purpose of tragedy comedy was also this, you know that there is some, whenever they have added some comic reliefs in the tragedies, and that really appealed the people because it was breaking the flow, the monotonous flow, or monotonous actually, the monotony of the tragedy or the tragic elements in the reader, in the audience. So they cannot focus much more on the serious scenes only, but you know that there is sometimes some change, some alteration in their emotions, and that will give them a relief from the tragic scenes, from the tragic elements. So similarly, we can say that we must need a break from the worries, from the problems of the life. And if that comes for a time period, you can say that for 1 days, 2 days, or 3 days time period, so it will give you enough boost and energy to move on and to stay with the earth and to stay with the people once again, to stay with the reality of the life once again, and they go to the northern areas and they see the scenery of the nature and enjoy there. And after that, they come back to their lands, I would say, their they they face the same adversities of their jobs, of their projects and businesses. It means that they are just and this has also I would say that this is also a trend of in Pakistan, and, even though in this time, before that this was also the trend of English people and American people, that they were only working for 6 months, and after that they moved to their country houses, to their farmhouses, and there with the families, with everything, and they have to spend their 66 months without any work, without any job, because this is actually relaxing from everything. It means that those people also take some pauses from the life, and then we can do in any ways. We must give ourselves some times from our busy routines, from our the other people also. We must also give some time to ourselves. Okay, then may no fate willfully misunderstand me and half grant what I wish, and give me what I wish, and snatch me away not to return. So may not willfully misunderstand me or misjudge me. I'm not that I cannot face the reality of the life. I can do that. And half grant what I wish, and give me what I wish, even though if I my desires cannot be fulfilled fully, but I do not demand that they must be given fully. I must not be obliged fully, but at least grant me what I wish. And what is that? That the life is a combination of worries and goodness at the same time. But you have to go with the flow. If it is, then you have to accept this. There is no, but on the other side, he also tells that the fate or the destiny must not misunderstand that I do not have the courage, I do not have the brave heart to deal with with the issues of the life, whatever life gives you as a challenge. No, he says that I have that courage, I have that ability to face with this, and I wish and snatch me away not to return. And sometimes you know that nature is too rebellious. That person thinks that I'm not thinking that this life or this destiny may snatch me away. I will never return back. But on the other side, he says that challenge, and then you have to accept it. So instead of going into that thing entirely, you can come and face the life, you can come and face the reality, and then you can you may not let the people think that you are spoiled, that you are wasted. No, you must bring up your energy and potential that you can meet with every challenge, and that is your real self. And then earth's the right place for love, because he thinks though that the earth is the right place for love. So you can change the meaning like love like a live. So earth is the right place to love. You know that sometimes we are actually into another world with our imagination or with the flight of our imagination, but ultimately we know the reality that we have to come here because earth is the right place for love. And I don't know where it's likely to go better. Now he's again confused. You know that he is actually marching between the past and the future, between the present and the past most of the time. And I don't know where to go, where to move, where likely to go, whether I should stay in the present, or whether I should move back in the past. I would like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb back branches of a snow white trunk toward heaven. So now this is, I would say, another futuristic uh, viewpoint of Robert Frost, that he's neither interested to go back in the past, he's neither interested to remain in the present. What he wants to do now, he says that I'd like to, he shows his intention. I would like to go by climbing a birch tree, even though in this age, and climb black branches of a snow white trunk towards heaven. So now you may also think that this situation gives me that I think that he's done with his time on earth. Might be he's thinking that okay, I am done with my time on earth, and now this is my time to move into another world. And he is, because the concept is the same. If he can go back with the plight of the birch tree, with the imagination of the through the birch tree, the channel of the birch tree. I think if he can go back with the medium of birch tree into the past, so he can also go into the future, means into the heaven also. So he also uses the birch tree as a symbol, as a ladder, because he feels so that, because birch tree is not only a birch tree, it is a symbol of nature. You already know that. So this nature will bring me into another world that he considers toward heaven. So see that I would like to climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up to the top, actually, where the snow white trunk toward heaven till the tree could bear no more. So I would like to go to the top of the tree till the upper branches of the tree can bear me no more. And but dip did stop and set me down again. Again, you see that he showed his intention that he would like to go into another world. Might be this indicates towards the death of the writer, that he wants to just get away from the life of the people, get away from the earth, and he would like to get away from the worries and the problems of the life, and he wants to go into another world that is promised with everyone. But on the other side, he says that I would like to sorry, till the tree could bear no more, but Deep did stop and set me down again. But at the top, the tree will dip me on the earth once again, and then I can start over. So that would be good, both going and coming back. So that would be good, because in that sense, you know that he will be going up, he will be going down, and after going down, he again will come up, will go up. It means that he wants in his life a I think a variation, because he feels so that life is exhausted when it is static, but when it is fixed. Whenever there are some variations in your life, so person gets not exhausted. Might be that he wants that taste, that variation in his life by going back and up again and again. So that is, I think, that his life. But on the other side, what he says in the last line, he says that one could do worse than be a swinger of Birches. So I think that he is actually telling the people that do not overthink on this idea of climbing the tree. You have many other things to do. You have many other options, many opportunity to do in your life. So I think that this is for himself, but on the other side, you can say that he also gives the people a moral lesson that you must not stick with only one thing, but you also have many other things to think about, many other things to talk about, or to, you can say, to bring in your life. So that is all about the birch tree, and I hope so that you have understood the phenomenon of the philosophy of Robert Frost. And if you would like to ask anything, then you are free to ask. Then I think that we must go for the next poem after this. Yes, anyone? Do you have a class right now?
Yes,
Really?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bilal.
Okay, really cool,
Yes,
really
sir.
cool. And I think that you must leave right now. Yeah, you may go right now. Thank you so much. Yeah, but if you have any question, you can ask right now. Otherwise, you may
Yes, sir.
leave for the next class. Okay, then, fine. And I'll be announcing the names of the students in the group who will be, I think, who will be presenting the next poems. Okay, I will be announcing the names in the group. So till then, take care. Allah Hafiz. Have a good day.